Alright.
Oh, wait, let's do that again. Do the new wave. Like that.
I'm not trying to embarrass myself on the radio.
No, you're not gonna.
I just did a show on Friday. My shit is fucked up. You know what I'm saying? My voice.
Yeah. Give him a break.
Okay.
Give me a.
No, perfection.
Give him a chance.
Yes. Thank you.
Chance to
You gotta
shine.
shoot for the stars and you'll hit the moon if you miss.
Oh,
Alright.
that is really
Okay.
cute.
Are you
We need
ready?
guidance right
Okay.
now.
3, 2, 1.
Boom.
Wow. That was
Alright. Hey, what's up, KZUU? It's DJ Tons from the Matters of Tea. As you guys know me, I am the World Music Director here at KZUU, and I'm here with the artist interview with. Can you guys please introduce yourself?
Yes, sir. Evo official on behalf of New Wave.
James Carter with New Wave.
Joel Bennett Rober, New Wave.
Nice.
Emphasis on the minute.
Alright, thank you guys for coming, by the way. Honestly, I was very nervous to have this happen and hoping you guys showed up. I know not all of your guys' members showed up, but it's okay. I'm glad the three of you are here.
Yeah, absolutely.
And honestly, KZU are really big fans of you guys.
You guys always hold it
Appreciate
down,
it.
and we super appreciate you guys because we've been doing our thing for a while, and you guys are like when we started gearing up, you guys were right there. You know what I mean? And so that KZUU show we did, that little house show we did, was actually one of our pivotal moments too. And so we, like I said, we definitely appreciate KZUU, but we also appreciate you, Tanya, definitely for holding it down for the way.
Yeah. So if you guys didn't know, we hosted New Wave with our KZU house show that happened on in April, so spring semester 2019, and that was a lot of fun. Thank you to all those people who showed up. We had both New Wave and North Paw, which is even more amazing.
Yeah.
And thank you guys for headlining. I was so freaking happy that the two groups I chose ended up headlining the house show. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
It was a fun show. I mean, the first time we really got to show you guys how we do things live, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And it was cool to see other local artists and stuff
Oh,
there.
for sure.
There
Absolutely.
too. It was awesome.
Yeah, hanging out up there in that green room, honestly, we had a good, I was getting to meet so many different artists. My boy Seiji that I already knew, and then seeing him coming into his, full on, I'm an artist, you know what I'm saying? And so seeing that whole process, how that developed and came about, you know what I'm saying? That was just super dope. And getting to just hang out with folks and see them, you know what I'm saying? A couple of them, that was their first show ever doing it live. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm over there handing out pointers oh, you want to do it like this. You want to do it, you know what I'm saying? Make sure you get that. Make sure you keep you some water on the side. If it's your first time performing live, make sure you get you some water, man, because you're going to be dry. You got to stay hydrated, baby.
I also really like I'm sure this goes for the rest of us, the really intimate nature of the performance. We were right up there with the audience, you know.
There was no barrier.
No barrier whatsoever.
Yeah.
Matt can attest to that. He stepped on my guitar pedal a million times.
Hey,
I was just slowly getting angrier.
Fun fact, Joe was on my necklace, man. He was ready to snap, man. He was ready to snap. He's like, bro, if you bump me one more time, I'm like, my bad, bro. I'm out here doing my thug thing.
I think I had a distorted guitar tone once, and all of a sudden it just turned acoustic guitar.
Oh, did I hit a pedal?
Yeah.
See, I messed around and hit a pedal, y'all. My bad.
Right when we were in the thick of it, you know, jamming on it.
Yeah, man. We did it live.
Oh my god.
We did it live.
That's a story for sure, man.
Yeah.
We'll tell that story later.
All right, we're gonna get into our questions that we have. Some of our MDs actually sent in these questions, and as well some weird personal questions that they want to ask. Not too personal, by the way.
Oh, shit.
But yeah, this is just some of our MDs questions I already have. This is just what the fans want to know.
Okay.
All right.
Talk about it.
So one of the first things first, how did you guys all meet?
First things first. Okay. So New Wave had a very interesting start. I've been rapping for a lot of years, right? 10 years. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so coming out here to WSU, I kind of was thinking, and I was like, dang, how can we get more people on the page. You know what I'm saying? I was thinking inclusively, like on a collective level. And so I was like, okay, cool. Started linking with a couple local artists who were rapping, you know what I'm saying, at the time. Now, mind you, at this time, we had no sort of instrumentation to it. It was all the beats were digital, you know what I'm saying? It was all pre-recorded stuff, you know what I'm saying? And so that's where we were at. So we were doing a lot of rap like that, making songs here and there. And then I got introduced to Chase, one of my buddies named Chase, man. And he was a solid dude. And then he introduced me to Hunter. Or no, he introduced me to his buddy Daniel. And then let me get it. Daniel. And then, no, because it was, like I said, this is very interesting because there were so many layers to it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, anyways, we had the first meeting. Me, Chase, Daniel, a homegirl Vidya was there, and just a bunch of us was there. Boom, and we just started meeting and talking, and then figuring shit out, figuring things out. Excuse my French. And so then we went over to Hunter's place and had our first little practice. I started spitting some bars on it, and then we was like, oh, because they all played live instruments, so they was doing their thug thizzle, and then I started rapping over it, and it was just too live, you know what I mean? And so basically out of that, we was like, all right, bet, we got to do something crazy, you know what I'm saying? And one of my boys that's not around, Nigel, he was there too. He was, you know what I'm saying, the other little front man for New Way. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And so,
a couple practices.
Yeah, and so that's basically how it formulated. And then once we sort of got like a foundation, like more people started to add on and come to it, you know what I'm saying? Like different folks, a bass player here, a trumpet player there, you know what I'm saying? My man James came through with the sauce, you know what I'm saying, on the saxophone and stuff.
Sizzle.
And he even did bass for us too in the summer when he was our interim bass player, man. So he was killing stuff on the bass too. So but overall, you know what I'm saying, and I wanted to also let you guys tell your perspective of it too, because I only know my part coming in, you know what I'm saying, from the beginning, but yeah, you know what I mean, it's just been an eye-opening experience for me, because doing rap is cool, but then when you do it with the live instrument elementation, like it's a whole nother ballgame, and it's just such a more eye-opening experience, and I think the listeners too can appreciate that difference that you're experiencing. You dig what I'm saying? When you have all live music going on versus just hit and play on the beat. I'm not saying you can't go up, hit and play on the beat, or it's not popping, but when you got the live instruments, it's a whole nother vibe. It's a whole nother ball game, and that's what I've really come to realize too, playing with these guys for the last year. So, you know what I mean? Shout out to New Wave, always in the building. I was gonna have to bleep myself. So
It's okay.
I actually met you, Matt, a while even before I think New Wave even existed. Like,
wow, get the hell out of town. Tell that story for the first time on the radio, because I don't even know that story. Please.
Hey, you lived in McEachern for a
yes,
while, right?
sir.
You organized a talent show or something.
Yes,
I think it was during
sir.
2017.
Yes,
one year,
sir.
and I came in there like just one guitar and like sang and played an Alice in Chains song.
Yeah,
something.
Yeah.
That was the first time I actually met you.
So you was at that talent show?
Yeah.
Okay, fun fact, Joe, please. I did not organize that talent show.
Oh, you didn't?
It was my roommate, Michael Meacham. You know what I'm saying? He was the president of the McEachern Hall Association or whatever they had going on over there. But I won the talent show. That's why I had to say I didn't organize it, because I won that money.
It was rigged.
Yo. I'm clearing up any confusion. I did not rig the talent show. But no, Joe, that's what's up, man. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
I was just a little Padawan on my journey to becoming a Jedi Master.
Isn't it wild how things came full circle though, and we ended up linking?
Yeah. Life is funny like that, man. You know, that's why you gotta value every, relationship you develop with people, because you never know down the road, like 2, 3, 5, 10 years.
You come in, y'all come in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
those
also,
people turn out to be the most influential in your life sometimes.
Yeah, I think every interaction too, I try to be intentional about every interaction, because, you know what I'm saying, I'm realizing that, you know what I'm saying? Like, I want things to be meaningful, you know what I'm saying, down the line, you know what I mean? And we never know. We know what the space we're at in right now. We know what we're in, but we never know where we're going or where we're going to end up or what kind of connections are going to mean a lot. You dig what I'm saying? So, definitely I value those, man, for sure. For sure.
I think the first time that I met you was at a house party that was thrown where Lucky Chops came and played. And you came, and they invited people to come and play, and I played a little bit, and then you came and did your thing, and I got a lot of respect from you because you don't see very many people, very many hip hop guys doing these kind of spontaneous things like that with instrumentalists. And then once I realized that you rocked like that, you know, then we kind of introduced each other. And I think that we had kind of met before, but it was always like, you know,
we had a lot of mutual connections too.
Yeah, because mainly Hunter and Joe Balistrasi, who both those guys aren't here right now, but it was cool.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And dang, I forgot about the Lucky Chop show. That shit was super dope. Oh my gosh. And going up there too, I was a little bit skeptical because I know there wasn't any microphones or anything like that. But those guys were just playing so hard in the paint. Like, I was just like, man, how could...
The cops came and shut it down.
Wait, you're talking about the one that had the bonfire in the back, right?
Aren't these guys from like New York or something?
Yeah, they're from New York.
They got tons of like this. Man, it was so dope. Seeing these guys live was so dope. And then they opened up the floor and said, "If you want to come up." What? Are you kidding me? Yes, I'm on my way right now, sir.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was so dope. It was so dope.
Oh, that was awesome.
Looking them chops.
Oh my gosh. I love Lucky Chops so much. Performing with them was even better during the halftime show.
Yeah.
Man, did they do the halftime show?
Yeah, they did the halftime show.
Day?
Yeah,
that same day. Actually.
That same day with the Oregon Marching Band.
Ooh,
yeah,
that's so hard.
It was crazy because it was already a crazy day because we already had Lucky Chops and then plus it was Butch's birthday, so we were already doing something special. But then college game day on top of that, so that day was also really crazy. I did not sleep. I only slept for an hour.
Hence the birthday.
There was no time to sleep.
There was no time to sleep.
Streak out your name.
Yeah, James. Me and James are both in the marching band. Well, he's our graduate TA, so. We got to see a lot of stuff throughout that whole day, but man, it was so exhausting at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But it was
always
worth it. It was worth
always,
it. It was one of the best things that's ever happened.
Yes, sir.
Right. One of the other things I wanted to ask you guys, like, what gravitated each of you guys to Pullman? Like, I don't know, like, what got you guys to be here?
For me, it was just being time to transfer. So I was at the CC, you know what I'm saying? And then one of my advisors that I was working with, she definitely told me, like, you don't gotta wait. Like, don't wait to transfer. Like, if you're ready to get up out of here, get up out of here. You know what I'm saying? So I fucked around and started looking into colleges. I remember I started an application for WSU like a year prior. And I didn't even finish it because I was like, we'll see what's up. I was looking at Eastern. Fun fact, I was actually looking at this school in Fargo, North Dakota, out of all places, because I was looking for my major. You know what I'm saying? Apparel, merchandising, design, and textiles is what I landed on here. But I was looking for apparel design stuff, and so that college had popped up. You know what I'm saying? And so that was on the radar too. No, this is just where I landed at, and I had already started the application, so I was like, okay, bet. I just finished that thing up, you know what I'm saying? Got the little acceptance, and I was like, all right, nigga, we going to college, nigga. excuse my French line. But no, I was like, yeah, we're gonna take it there, you feel me? And so that's basically what came from me. Just wanting to branch out, break out, you know what I'm saying, and not just do the same, be the same, because I had lived in the same city for literally all my life, so I was like, nah, fuck that. We're gonna see some things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then also networking capabilities. I figure everybody's coming from around the world. You know what I'm saying? There's gonna be so many different walks of life here, so many different backgrounds represented here, so many different cultures, so many different races, ethnicities, you name it. You know what I'm saying? And so I was like, this is where I want to be because I'm a melting pot type sort of person. You know what I'm saying? And so I wanted to be able to touch and connect and be rooted with all sorts of different people, and that's exactly what has happened since I've been here. So, cool.
Yeah. Why I came to Pullman, I have a lineage of family that's kind of gone to Wazoo. Mainly with my dad and uncles, they all went down here, even my aunt. It almost seemed the logical decision to kind of continue my path here as well, given that I'm from Spokane, so that's just up the road, an hour and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Really close by. I won't have to cross the state, like a lot of people do, or fly out or do a whole bunch of bullshit just to see them. So it was a kind of more of a decision of practicality, and also I checked into their music program, and it was pretty damn good. And just being here for this long kind of confirms, that point. We have a great faculty. I've always had great professors that have taught me a whole bunch of things. So in the end, it's all worth it, and that's how I guess I'm meant to be here.
Yes,
I'm got to be here too.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Well, I'm originally from kind of around the Dallas area of Texas, like the North Texas area. I grew up in a small town and went to school in Oklahoma and got a degree in music, and then was kind of freelancing and teaching for a year, and then applied, or I didn't apply, but I emailed a bunch of schools, and most programs were, they sent this generic kind of response. And then one of the people that I emailed over here was Horace Alexander Young, who is an amazing person. He emailed me back immediately and gave me his phone number and was like, you need to apply yesterday. And we talked on the phone for 3 hours and talked about stuff as far as what's the best route to drive from Texas to Washington to where I'm gonna live when I get here, and he kind of helped me get set up with working a job with the school, doing stuff with the marching band, which is where I get to meet amazing people like Tanya, and then even really these guys too. I mean, this whole music community that was built. When I moved here, I didn't know what Pullman was all about or anything, but as soon as I got here, I kind of realized it was a special place. We were kind of out in the middle of nowhere. It's there's nothing in a 70-mile radius, and this is kind of the place. This is a hole in the middle of a wheat field, So I knew there was going to be some kind of camaraderie, some kind of community going on, because the musicians in this area have to be doing something, And
everybody trying to sit on their hands.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It's you get too bored. I don't know. People are got to be going on, So as soon as I met Hunter and stuff like that, started playing, and it's cool. Pullman.
Yeah, because if you look at the music scene here in Pullman, it's just a lot of DJs, and then people just kind of keep to themselves, just uploading their tracks onto SoundCloud or Spotify or wherever is available. That's all you guys that's all you see in Pullman. And I feel like you guys are definitely one of the pioneers of doing live music between Moscow and Pullman. Yeah. And I'm honestly very glad that you guys are doing that, because then a lot more artists are actually coming out with their stuff a lot more and trying to do shows. Because if you see some of the performances, I know Anton, who's also a radio DJ here at KZUU, he does his shows. When I was at Etsy,
Friday?
It was Thursday. It was you and Anton. I wish I could have gone, but
love that.
Yeah, yeah.
So cool.
He's one of the well-known artists, and then so I think it's really cool that you guys are definitely putting yourselves out there and just doing a lot more gigs.
Yeah. I just want to say to that note that you know what I'm saying, we had to really how do I say this? Insert ourselves in that lane. You know what I'm saying? Because it's so many you in the area we're at, and like my man said, we in the middle of nowhere. You know what I'm saying? There's not a whole lot popping. The industry around here, or the market around here for live music, is kind of challenging. So, you know what I'm saying, you gotta assert yourself and you gotta create those opportunities. And so shout out to all the businesses that we've been working with, Etsy Bravo for sure, Rico's for sure, Lumberyard for sure. You know what I mean? They've been messing with us tough, and we've had a lot of success there, a lot of dope shows there. And you know what I'm saying, we just continue to get out in front of the people, and we branched out as far as Seattle. We did that art walk at Love City Love, which is super dope. It was super dope to see it, because none of us were from there or anything. I guess Hunter's from
it's from around there, yeah.
I lived in
Seattle, Seattle area. But going out there, they had never heard of us. We were nothing to them. You know what I'm saying? And we went out there and we had a dope ass show, and everybody loved it. And so it just got to really show us okay, we can really branch out with this thing. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like the new wave thing is scalable. You know what I'm saying? Like you can do it at any level. You know what I'm saying? We go itty bitty of Pullman or Moscow or whatever, and then you know what I'm saying, Seattle, and we still popping. You know what I'm saying? So that's what really got to show me. But no, really, just being able to create those opportunities and being a collective, it's easier when you have a collective force around it, surrounded by it. You know what I'm saying? So
well, and to that note, since we're talking about other bands that kind of play in this area, our first show as a full group was put on by another local band called Street Couch, who has been kind of like brothers to us, you know, and they're really great dudes. They just recorded something, and I don't know when it's going to get released, but you should look out for Street Couch.
Shout out to Street Couch, man.
Yeah,
they rock too.
Yeah. They put these shows on and at this place called the Holy Grail, and it's right down in Greek Row, and it's like this renovated church. But it's definitely not. It's definitely not a church anymore.
It's a land of sin.
Look, I'm just saying, if motherfuckers would have been burning up. That's all I'm gonna tell you.
Yeah, I think I met Jesus there.
I had an experience, and Jesus was present.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Really
Yo.
Yeah.
I think that ultimately,
Shout out to Jesus though, and
what it kind of boils down to, at least in terms of raising like the profile of musicians in this area, is that you could do a lot of things. You could have a lot of abilities, but ultimately, in the end, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Damn.
And so by
that's
just
like a tearjerker right
yeah,
now.
by like
damn.
completely. By teaming up with these local businesses and trying to get your name out, you know, that starts to turn heads eventually. You know, and especially if your music has like substance to it and quality, those are things that people catch on to, like over time through repeated exposure. So we just got to keep kind of going with what we got going on right now, you know.
Absolutely. And that's why I definitely like it's been such an eye opener. Like I honestly, a lot of times you do your shit, right? And then you, excuse my French again. Oh my God, I'm just dropping the bombs right now.
It's totally okay.
You do your stuff, and then you just like, I hope they like it. You know what I'm saying? And so if that's the mentality, I'm gonna do my stuff. I hope they like it. You dig what I'm saying? And then down the line, like in a place like right now, you realize like, oh my God, we're getting actual support. Like people are like, this is cool. Like they on board with this, you know what I'm saying, and have been supported. You know what I'm saying? And so all the time you have to be appreciative of those folks who do kind of partner with you on that journey. You know what I'm saying? Fans or you know what I'm saying, however the connections get made or however the relationship is. You know what I'm saying? I'm just super appreciative of that because you know what I'm saying. It's, at the end of the day, at the beginning of the day, I'm gonna do my stuff. I hope they like it. It's the vibe. You dig what I'm saying? And so, if they rocking with it and if they fucking with it and they like it, then you already know. I'm gonna show. I'm never gonna. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm never gonna give something short of appreciation to that. You dig what I'm saying?
I think the most important thing with being a musician is like knowing who you are, because you can't be anybody else. I mean, it's one of those things like B.B. King is like a great guitar player, but if he entered a guitar competition, he probably wouldn't win. You know, he's so famous because he knows who he is, and it's relatable about many other artists. You know, they might not be like they know themselves, and that's why people dig them, and that's why they become legends and stuff like that, and very well known.
Speaking of
they're okay with that.
Yeah, speaking of like you guys going through all that stuff as artists, what were some of the hurdles in your guys' musical career, and how did you guys manage that?
Hurdles.
I think one thing that we dealt with kind of, I don't want to put anybody on blast who speak ill about anybody, but we had kind of weird times with personnel and trying to figure out like who is in the band, like how do we want to move forward about some things and stuff like that. And we've had some weird situations, like things that kind of turned awkward at times, and like wish everybody well. Everybody who's ever been part of this group, we wish them well. But that was definitely something that was weird, kind of over the summer and stuff like that. And like I was switching my role around, and like there were like as a full group, we have like a full horn section, but there was a time where we just had to be like a quartet, like a just straight up rock band type of style, where it's just guitar, bass, drums, Matt, and
we had to sort of, for lack of a better term, I guess, improvise.
Yeah,
you know,
because we still had these shows booked, and it was like, how are we gotta do something, like we can't just like hang it up for a month.
It's still gotta be live.
It's not like our saxophonist can't be or show canceled by. Let's go on.
On that note, like, you know what I'm saying, like, since this has started, like, several adversities, but you know what I'm saying, this is the beast. This is the nature of the beast right now. And so I feel like this is what's supposed to happen, and you're gonna have adversities and challenges. And for me, the biggest one that I kind of faced and that had me shook and nervous was in the beginning. My boy Nigel, he was the counterpart for us, you know what I'm saying? So it was me and Nigel, we was the two frontmen of this group, right? And then we started doing these rehearsals and stuff, and then boom, he moved over to Texas. And I was like, dang, you know what I mean? And so every song we had, the entire set list was all cut in half.
That was a bomb.
You know what I mean? And I was like, oh man, what are we gonna do? And so basically, you know what I'm saying, we had to go back to the drawing board. And just keeping that energy alive though, staying with it and saying, nah, we're not gonna cower down or back down from this challenge, you dig what I'm saying? And so you know, the pieces started to fall back into place. And then we got more popping than we ever were, you know what I'm saying? So it was an experience to show that resilience, you know what I mean, pays off. You dig what I'm saying? Don't give up. Don't, you know what I'm saying? Don't quit when it looks hard. You know what I'm saying? And so my big thing is sticking with something until you see the fruits of it. You dig what I'm saying? You plant a seed in the ground, you got to water that thing for a while before you start to see some fruits from it, before you start to yield something for it. So why do we think that anything in life is going to be any different? You know what I'm saying? We got to put that time in, got to put that consistency and effort in. And that's what I like about New Wave and what we've been able to do. We've been able to be consistent with our sound, consistent with whatever we're doing, you know what I'm saying? And we still out here rocking like a cut-off stocking, man. Come on, man.
What's the mic? Oh, I want to drop the mic because...
We're going to leave the mics on the table. I think that video might have...
Oh, no. Is it doing it? There we go. New Wave is still in the building.
Yes, sir.
All right. What was something that inspired you guys to become artists?
For me, Tupac, Biggie, Jagged Edge, Biggie. I said Biggie already? Yeah. Okay, cool. You know what I'm saying?
Just them.
For me, man, I credit my older brother, man. My older brother, John, he was always playing the greats, man. He was always playing the GOATs. I used to go in his room and just play all this classic hip hop for hours on end. I remember listening to P. Diddy, or formerly known as Puff Daddy.
I remember.
That's funny to even say that. But no, I remember playing I'll Be Missing You. Boom. And I remember just busting down in tears. I'm like 10 years old at the time, and I'm just busting down in tears, crying like, damn, they killed this nigga Biggie, y'all. They killed this thing. Like, just really hurt about it. You dig what I'm saying? Yeah. And but it was just like a passionate feeling that just came over me, bro. And I just really had a love for hip hop. Like, I was soaked into a lot of great music. You dig what I'm saying? And so, that's what inspired me. Like, honestly, like, being a lyricist and all that came later for me. I started with the beats, you know what I'm saying? I started doing hip-hop instrumentals, and so that's when I really got to see some of the background stuff that went with it. And then I tried my hand at rapping, man, and I was like, oh, man, I really kind of, you know what I'm saying? This shit is kind of cool, you know what I mean? And going from, you know, not being really sure about it, you know what I'm saying, to, like, I know I spit that fire, I'm going to let y'all hear this shit, you know what I'm saying? That's the whole process that I was most... You know what I'm saying? That coming into that confidence and kind of owning the craft. You know what I'm saying? And so that's where I'm at right now. Mm-hmm. So check your boy out. We fire, baby. New Wave in the building. Let's go.
Yeah, I think that's something really important as artists, like to like discover what you're doing is like worth being done. You know, and that's kind of what I think you're saying. It's like you kind of discovered that like this is an outlet for you to show the world or whoever will listen who you are.
Yes, sir.
And that's super important. That's kind of like how I feel about how I got into music. I didn't really have a significant person in my life, there were some really good friends that I had growing up that we got into music together, and I joined my first band with a guy when I was we were both 15, 16 years old, and our first show was at a skate park that also got shut down by the police and stuff like that. And it was like a little shitty punk band, but we had fun, and like as he kind of moved off and went to school somewhere, and I had to start doing my own thing, and that's kind of when I realized, like, yeah, I need to stick with this. Like, this is my thing, and this is the one thing that's not ever really gonna leave. Like, it's the one constant that I have, going on. So I have to, like, I owe it to myself and to whoever will listen to it to keep making music, because eventually it's gonna get somewhere. Maybe it had humble beginnings and it wasn't always super great or wasn't always meaningful, but like the end of the road, it's like there's like a light at the end of the tunnel, and I can see that it's there. So it's like I owe it to myself to continue that journey, just to see where it goes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You can fail at doing something that you don't want to do. I think you posted that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So you might as well do what you love. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I dig it. Oh.
Oh, man. This is... I'll try to make this story a little shorter, but there's a lot of points that kind of contribute to how I'm playing in a hip-hop band as a guitarist now.
Yo.
Because, like, 5 years ago, that's something I would have never imagined myself actually doing. Like, okay, it all starts at the beginning. My dad was, and still is, a bass player. Like, that's his instrument of choice, and
so this story is not going to be shorter, y'all. I'm just saying.
No, I'm trying to paraphrase a little bit.
Yes, sir.
But he got me into, like, Van Halen and all those 80s bands from a very early age, and hearing Eddie Van Halen play guitar as I was like a 3-year-old or 4-year-old, that like blew my mind. I like knew right from the get-go that was the coolest fucking thing in the universe to me, and that was what I was going to do someday in some way. My grandma at the same time also urged me to take like the classical piano lessons, so that helped me a little bit with music theory early on, and she was always playing like Tchaikovsky, Bach, Mozart, Beethoven, like all these great composers, like works, symphonic works, even a lot of the times, and that kind of like trained my ear a little bit early on, like to get a sense for like music, and the harmonies, melodies, rhythms even. So by high school, I of course went the kind of route that a lot of teenagers go, and I formed a metal band.
Nice.
Just to kind of release my inner angst,
yes,
I guess.
Sir.
Angst that still hasn't left, by the way. I still love metal, and I will continue to play that until I die. But we all went our separate ways after high school concluded, and I was kind of like one of the only people that was left like wanting to truly pursue music as an ambition and as a career. So go to KZUU here, get even more educated about music theory and whatnot, and it was actually listening to jazz suddenly made me develop a newfound appreciation for hip-hop, because while I was and still continue to study jazz like a couple of years ago, that's when I actually started listening to albums like To Pimp a Butterfly, for example.
Talk that
and
talk.
like, yeah, and it's started to make sense to me at that moment. I started to make the connections between what I knew previously and what I was currently learning, and that opened my worldview up exponentially in terms of what I could do on the instruments. So lo and behold, here we are with New Wave and looking to push new musical boundaries.
Yeah.
Moving on.
And so that's one of the things that I appreciate the most about what we've been able to do is, and even now hearing Joel tell his story, and part of it, you know what I'm saying, and it's just like we've been able to mesh like so many different, like we coming from different worlds, you know what I'm saying, and so it's getting able to tell these stories and create these vibes on a collective level, it just feels like such a universal thing, like it just feels like the right thing to do, you dig what I'm saying? And so when we create this music, man, and it all comes together, and everybody's represented, and that expression is there, you know what I'm saying, and there's a vibe, and then we put it out there, and then they get to soak it up, you know what I'm saying? There's just so many layers to it that it's really deep what we're doing, you know what I'm saying? And so that's why I appreciate New Wave for sure, because we got a hardcore rock and roll dude, you know what I'm saying, who would have he never saw himself in that lane, in that light, you know what I'm saying? And I'm a rapper, I never saw myself in that lane, in that light, you know what I'm saying? And so, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, bam, here we are making it happen, and it's actually working, and it's good music, it's quality music, it's stuff you can listen to and play for your friends, you know what I'm saying? It's stuff you can stand by, you know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, I'm just super appreciative of it, man, all of it, man, you know what I'm saying? It's a vibe.
I know you guys in early September, you guys came out with your guys' EP, Initiation.
Yes, ma'am.
And KZUU
Yes.
has done a group review on it. And I don't know if you guys checked that out when I shared it all over social media, tagged all of you guys on it. When it first came out, I like sent it immediately to like James and like Matthew. I'm like, hey, so we did this because like since I'm a big fan of you guys.
Yes, ma'am.
One of the things I wanted to tell you guys is so that whole group review that we did with KZUU with your guys' EP Initiation, it had over 109 views, and you guys are one of the top like pages that was viewed.
Nice.
Like yeah, you guys were the top like group review that we've had on KZUU. So
That's big blessings.
yeah, which is honestly very awesome to share.
That's
and
big blessings, man. Thank
yeah,
you.
yeah, you're welcome. Like
Good
yeah, yeah, I know you guys did some collabs with Raul E. Blanco and the Jazz Wires. I know
Yes,
Gabriella's in that group, and I
Yes,
thought that was
sir.
really cool when I was like, oh no way, this is amazing. I honestly was like, my mind was blown, and I can't wait to hear about more of like what you guys are gonna do.
Yeah.
Is like, do you guys want to give any like input, like what Initiation was about?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically shout out to everybody who's rocking with New Wave. Thank you guys so much. We super appreciate you. Tanya included. You've been a day one supporter, and you know what I'm saying, you continue to support the wave, and you know what I'm saying, it's invaluable. You dig what I'm saying? And so we really appreciate you, and we really appreciate everybody who's rocking with New Wave, who comes out to the shows, who listens to the song, who tells their friends about it. You know what I mean? Even you, if you just support in your mind, if you know you're rocking with us, we appreciate you. And we got merchandise coming on the way too. Anyways, so yeah, Initiation came about, I think we kind of themed it like, okay, so New Wave, right? You know what I'm saying? That's kind of the, I guess not kind, literally, it's the band name. So I think
Not the music genre.
Yeah. The wave.
So we kind of themed it around the different stages of
A tsunami.
a tsunami, and so that's the size wave we have it. And so first it's the initiation. Do y'all remember the different phases?
Yeah. So the first one is initiation, obviously, and then the second one is called split. So I don't know exactly what happens. I'm not a meteorologist, anything like that.
Yeah.
The third one is run up, and then which is really cool. It sounds dope. Run up. And I can't remember what the fourth one is. I think it's like annihilation or something.
Yeah,
Something
well,
like that.
hey, you know, you gotta let me.
That's gonna be that. Yeah.
So you
There's
know what to
gonna be some
expect.
guitar shit on that.
So you know what to expect from the web, man. You know what it is. But no, basically, yeah, that's how initiation came about. We wanted to do a project, obviously, because we had been working and stuff, and so we wanted to give the people something to hold on to, something to reference, something to look back to. You know what I mean? And that's just part of the artistry, you know, what it is. And so we got more of that coming on the way. We're going to do, I think we was talking about a little bit earlier, we're going to call this one, next one, a full-length one, you know what I'm saying? So we got some stuff coming. Look for us at the top of the year.
Debut.
New Wave is still
LP.
in the building. Drop the movie bomb for us.
All right. One of the most asked questions is, what is Soul Cry about? Honestly, that one got
This is
into
you, man.
some of the emotions. Like,
Yeah.
even I was blown away, and I was like, oh my gosh, Joel,
Yeah.
you honestly killed that solo.
Fuck you,
That was
mean.
one of my
Oh.
favorite things that I've listened to.
Yes, sir.
I
wanted
literally
to
put,
compliment him.
yeah, honestly, in my review, I literally put Joel, as he goes all out, I literally have no words to describe how I'm feeling about this.
That means a lot, Tanya.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
If you guys have not heard Joe Roper play, man, you're sleeping on your whole entire life right now. I'm gonna get you some wake up pills, some caffeine, some coffee, whatever it is. you need to go check us out. We're on Spotify, we're on iTunes, we're on all the major streaming platforms. You know what I'm saying? Go check our music out. Hear this man roar, man. Like, this is the guitarist of the fucking century right here.
Hear this man spit and hear this man scream like R2D2 on his sax.
Yeah. And shout
Way
out
up
to
there.
James, man. He's a saxophonist, man. But
Sexy sax man.
have you ever felt the texture of butter? 'Cause that's just how smooth.
Oh yeah.
That's just how smooth my man plays.
Oh my
It
God.
is crazy, man. It's really crazy. Overall, I'm blessed because I get to work with some of the greatest musicians to ever touch the face of the earth, man. I'm gonna just say it, man. We're working with goats, man. You know what I'm saying? Even if y'all don't know it, we know it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But no, real talk. Really, everybody who does their thing with New Wave, man, is fucking excelente. You know what I'm saying? And so I just really appreciate that whole experience. But going back to the question, Soul Cry. I wrote that in 2018. It was winter. It was cold. I remember it was stark. And that's why the first opening line is sitting in the cold room looking at these bills pile. You know what I'm saying? I'm never wishing that you know what this feels like. So it came from a place that I was in too. You know what I'm saying? Going through certain life experiences, man, and just feeling a certain way, and then reflecting back on my past and stuff that I felt like I just needed to get off my chest. You ever just need to express some stuff? You know what I'm saying? Just to be able to let it go. You know what I'm saying? Because in life, you don't want to be bogged down by stuff from the past. That's what you call resentment. You dig what I'm saying? And so it's not happening in the present, but you're still dealing with something that came from the past. You dig what I'm saying? So I just had to really get a lot of stuff off of my chest to be able to move forward. You dig what I'm saying? And so since when I was 14 years old, I had this little run-in with the police. You know what I'm saying? I was walking home. And, you know what I'm saying, I actually ended up getting a charge from that, you know what I'm saying, which was a false charge. Like, it was, I got framed, you know what I'm saying. They said I had some drugs on me, which I didn't have, you know what I'm saying, and they took me to jail. I got charged with it and convicted with it, you know what I'm saying, and it was on my juvenile record. And so that kind of threw me in a different path in life and a different trajectory as far as, like, the route I was on, you know what I'm saying. I was in school doing my thug thizzle, you know what I'm saying, and then I got thrown into the criminal justice system, you dig what I'm saying, for a charge I didn't do, you dig what I'm saying. And so I end the song up saying but they'll never hear the testimony. God, give me one tear I could cry, like Denzel in Glory. The movie Glory, Denzel Washington, he's a slave during the Civil War era, you know what I'm saying? So they recruit him to the army, but there's a scene in there where he's getting whipped, you know what I'm saying? Just getting whipped and whipped and whipped. And he don't make a noise, but his back is all scarred up because this ain't his first time getting whipped. You dig what I'm saying? But he don't make a noise, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's getting whipped like a slave, and I mean that quite literally. If y'all ain't never seen the movie Glory, y'all should go back and watch that thing. But all he do is drop a single tear out that right eye. The drama was for real, you know what I'm saying? And so that's why I said, God, give me one tear I could cry like Denzel in Glory, like, for real. Like, all this stuff, all the experiences and stuff that, you know what I'm saying, we face and go through in this life, you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, you become numb to it, you dig what I'm saying? And so it's just, at the end of the day, I was just like, man, this moment of expression, this moment of clarity right now, I feel like getting this off my chest and letting it out to the people is going to help me move forward. But it's also my way of crying. I can't see them coming down my eyes, so I got to let my soul cry. You dig what I'm saying? I bleed it out on these lines. You dig what I'm saying? And so that's why those lyrics, that song is very meaningful to me as well. You know what I'm saying? And I struggle sometimes putting songs like that out, because I am so vulnerable in that space, and you know what I'm saying, you letting people kind of into the most intimate parts of you, you know what I mean, you leaving yourself up to the judgments, the critiques, all the negative things that could happen, you know what I'm saying, but you also opening yourself up to all the positive things that could happen too, and people resonating with it or kind of vibing with it. And thankfully the song has had much success, and that is one of the people's favorite songs that we've done, and they have accepted it and have received it well. So, you know what I mean? I'm glad that I get this opportunity to even talk about that and kind of explain a little bit like how that even came about, because that is a very meaningful song for me. So thank you.
Very poignant.
Yes, sir.
Honestly, I definitely felt through like all that emotion, not only through your lyrics, but also with the instrumentations. And I was like, my mind was blown away, because I was like, how much better can this EP get after listening to like the first two tracks? And then once Soul Cry hit, I was just like, I literally had like tears in my eyes, and I was like, "This is honestly one of the best things I've listened to."
Thank you so much.
Real art's supposed to move you. in some sort of way. It's supposed to make you think and question.
I can definitely see Soul Card was definitely tested. Like, it was testing your guys' skills, and honestly, you exceeded those expectations. That with the struggle of trying to like get into that emotion as well as like getting into the melody and then having the lyrics like all combined. And I honestly thought that was very amazing.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna go into like the weird fan personal questions that people submitted. They're not that weird or that personal, but yeah, we're just gonna end the whole interview with the like we want to get to know you guys a little bit more, as well as one of the questions is like, what is your favorite kind of pastry?
Wait. So what defines a pastry? What is it?
Pastry, like,
is that like a
dessert,
cookie?
yeah,
Can
like,
a cookie be? Okay.
Yeah.
Dismore. Sorry, I'm on one right now. Dismore makes these pumpkin chocolate chip cookies.
I think I know what you're talking
Every
about.
single time I see them, I grab those things and
Yeah.
I like get sick to my stomach because I love those
Yeah.
so much.
Oh,
You
yeah,
gotta
I
hit
ate
up
too many
Dismore's Bakery pumpkin chocolate chip. It's where it's at.
Shout out to
Now I know how to
Disney.
get to you, James. Like, I'll just leave
Yeah,
cookie crumb trail.
I'll leave a trail of
If
those.
I need to get you to
Hey,
somewhere.
look, he's just shamelessly picking up the trail of cookies.
Yeah,
like, is this
yeah, it's
another
like,
pumpkin
ooh,
chocolate
piece of
chip?
cookie.
Oh shit!
It's so moist.
Yeah.
It's like, ooh, yeah.
Croissant.
Oh,
Croissant.
croissant.
It's hard to
Ooh.
beat a great croissant in the morning with
Yeah.
a nice cup of black coffee and maybe a little butter on that croissant to give it just a nice well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Hey, you not a player if you don't do buttered croissants. Hey, let me just say, Joel is the type of guy. He definitely has his pinky off the cup when he sips, guys. Ladies and gentlemen. I like
Especially when I drink like Bud Light or if I. You have to maintain the principle, even
Hey,
no matter the substance, you know.
Yes, sir. Pinky off the cup. I like a good. I think Danish is what they call.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
What kind of cream cheese Danish?
Oh,
Pringle?
Yeah, man. Even saying that, damn. You know what I mean? I got chills right now. Yeah, so like I like a little raspberry with the cream cheese flavor. It's a nice little contrast. It'll smack you in the face, but it'll just delight your soul.
All right, who would you say is the goofiest member
Ah!
in New Wave?
10 out of 10.
Matt
It
McDonald.
is I. I'll take it. Look, and here's the thing. I have different sides to me, so I'm serious when it's time to be serious. But you know, I mean, everything I do, I want to enjoy doing it. You know what I'm saying? And so there's been a lot of times where I've tried to filter myself and temper myself and not be as active as I wanted to be. But you know, I think there's a certain growth about that. But also, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, come on, man, be you, baby. You know what I mean? And so I love to have fun. I love to have a good time. I love to crack jokes. I'm really off the fly. You know what I'm saying? And so yeah, I think you I'm an acquired taste of sorts. You dig what I'm saying?
It's
so,
fun to be around.
Shout out to these guys for tolerating the motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's one of those things. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is.
Yeah.
All right.
You may be the goofiest, but I'm the weirdest.
Oh my gosh. Oh god.
Yes, sir. hey, at least he knows because that is a certifiable fact. Now, shout out to Joe, man.
All right. I know you guys answered this a little bit. Like any recommendations of artists you guys want to put out there that you guys listen to?
I'll let you guys start. Real talk, because I know you guys know a lot about music. You guys are meaningful with this. You know?
Okay.
So,
I know a lot of you probably don't like heavy metal. Just putting that out there.
We do have a heavy metal music director, to be honest.
that's
Yeah.
not a fair
So no,
assumption.
it's like KZUU is all about playing a lot of genres and playing underground music. So literally, there is no quite definition of what kind of music we play at KZUU.
Mm.
So honestly, just go ahead, throw anything out there if you like, whatever you feel like you want to recommend to people.
Well, it's hard for me to call this like an underground band because they're signed on a major label right now. Or at least they were for a while, and they've been pretty influential in the scene. But Revocation is one of the greatest metal bands out there right now.
Revocation.
The interplay between all the instrumentalists themselves, Dave Davidson on guitar and vocals, along with I forget the other names of the members. Sorry if they ever hear this, I apologize for not doing my research beforehand well enough, but their music is incredible. Like, combines elements of jazz, even very progressive sounding. Sometimes there's even bits of melody in the vocals to contrast, all the screaming and growling and sounds that you would expect to hear coming from a caveman. But if you ever want to crank out a really hard set at the gym or something, and you're looking for a little bit extra to give you that push, to get over the top, just listen to their album Chaos of Forms. Came out 2010, 2011. Shit's fire.
Yeah, I just want to promote, some of the local bands. Like we talked about Street Couch earlier. They're about to put out some music. We also collectively kind of have a lot of projects within ourselves, and you can definitely check all that stuff out. We got North Paws, Dusk Animals, and stuff like that. But really, if you want to get into underground music and you're in a town where there are bands playing, you got to go out and see them. Like, if you're under 21, then go to One World Cafe or Lumberyard or something like that, and get out and see these groups. Because if you don't support live music, then it's not going to keep happening. And supporting the places, the venues that support live music, that's the other thing. So, and then especially whenever you turn 21, go hit up John's Alley in Moscow, and stuff like that, and then follow those guys, and then see what other bands they play with, and then you start to realize this huge circuit of local musicians or underground musicians and bands that are around that you might not have the opportunity to if you didn't just go out.
We should mention the Bayou.
Oh yeah,
well.
Definitely the Bayou.
Big shout out to the Bayou. Big shout out to Gabe over there, man. Always supporting, doing this thug thizzle, man. For sure. The Bayou.
They have a bunch of cool artists. I can't remember the names, unfortunately.
No,
Real Dumb.
Real Dumb.
But they get a lot of artists who are coming through on tours and stuff. You get a lot of artists on the rise. You know what I'm saying? And you get to see a very dope space for artists who are out there actually getting out there and getting active and getting after the thing. They're traveling, doing music. So, you know what I'm saying? Getting to rub shoulders with that type of energy is always dope. And the Bayou is a space in the area that is like, you have a home here if that is who you are. You dig what I'm saying? So we definitely appreciate the Bayou.
They've been doing that for 20 years or something.
For sure. The Bayou's got history, yeah. And so, we got to play there a couple times, you know what I'm saying? And so I'm just glad to be a part of that slate that got to, you know what I'm saying, pull up at the Bayou, man. Local artists, I would like to say, shout out to definitely ABF Worldwide, you know what I'm saying? Anybody who's doing that thing local, you know what I'm saying? I always have a respect and appreciation for that, you know what I'm saying? Just continue to grind, continue to push, man. That's all I can say. Definitely big shout out to Street Couch, you know what I'm saying? Big shout out to Whole Milk. Give big shout out to North Paw, you know what I'm saying? And so everybody who we kind of rock with, we rock with them tough, you know what I'm saying? And we support, you know what I'm saying? It's a strong front and it's loyalty in the motherfucking building, you know what I'm saying? And so every time that we do our shows or we do things, we always try to keep it in-house and collective as possible and just make sure we put people on, you know what I'm saying? And so that's what it's about. We got a movement going on ourselves, but we also like to partner and make sure that we sharing that energy and making sure we know that everybody else is doing good. You dig what I'm saying? It's not enough just to be doing good yourself. I want other people to be doing good as well.
Well, and the thing is, if any of us make it, and we all kind of feed off of that. If any, one of us thriving, it's not a contest, you know?
Yeah.
Because what we're trying to do is to show, the state of Washington, the country, whatever, that Pullman is a region of music, and it's kind of new right now. We're young in the process, and Moscow is a little bit ahead of us as far as that. But there's something going on here. It's it's hard for it not to be. With there's 30,000 college students here. It's we gotta have some bit of talent.
Exactly.
Statistically.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So we just happy to be a part of the wave, man. You know what I'm saying? And we chose the name New Wave because of that. You know what I'm saying? Like real talk. We coming out with something fresh, something new, something funky, something for your ears, man. It's gonna resonate with you. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna take this and you're gonna soak it up. You know what I'm saying? And so I feel like if we were doing something that's saturated or just like everything else, we wouldn't call ourselves New Wave. So really look in, tap in. You know what I mean? And I think that's what James was trying to say for all you people who are in the community. Really tap into it because the fruits. I mean, money's good. Money is great. You know what I'm saying? Money is what we need. Hello, I'm gonna say that again.
We're okay. We're good. We're good.
All right. So James as Scoobs was a really awesome feature that night. I was the monster. I was wearing like a blazer, but I had this monster mask on. Problem was, the mask fucking sucked. I could not breathe one little bit out of that thing, and the eye holes were like slanting halfway off my face during the show and performances, so sometimes I didn't even know what I was playing.
Yeah.
But somehow it worked out all right, and right at the end we
dedication, ladies and gentlemen, dedication.
Yeah, we also got to play a tune which was a variation of the Halloween theme that we had just learned like during a practice the day before. And as we were doing it, Michael Myers came out in just like knife, suit, mask and all, and started like doing the moonwalk and shit, doing knife tricks, spinning around. That was the craziest shit ever.
Yeah.
That's funny as hell. That was awesome. Set that up right there. Yeah, and that was just an epic way to conclude. Technical difficulties, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, my Android sucks ass too. So
but
okay, Android doesn't suck entirely.
Yeah,
hey, Tanya's like, wait, you're not gonna just keep shitting on Android.
This is why
I'm
I
an iPhone dude at heart, man. Real talk. I have no business having an
There
Android.
we go.
I'll just like,
yeah.
There we go.
There we are.
James' professional camera angles. If you need his
You
services.
clicked on a button.
Oh wow. Oh, ooh.
There we go.
Yeah. So
not meant to be live.
yeah, that was the best way, in my opinion, how we were to end a show, and the crowd support that we got at the end of it was amazing.
Yes.
That was just a really good show. Good performances by everyone as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Great.
There's
fun.
no denying that last Halloween show was like super awesome. I mean, it just felt great. We were like, just came off of that hiatus and then like came back and like hit it really hard, and it was like we never, took a month off or whatever. But I think I had the most fun whenever we went out to Seattle, and it wasn't even really like the show. There's something really cool about playing an out of town gig, and then you have to, nobody knows you, and you kind of like you play a little different because you got like a little bit of fight in your sound because you want to prove to people, especially being in
That competitiveness
in a
almost,
city,
in a way.
like you want to prove to people that you're worth listening to, and it's a really cool feeling whenever it works out. But we had so much fun on that. We stayed at Hunter Thompson's parents' place, and just like, I don't think they're ever gonna
No.
back out.
Sleepover.
Yeah, we had a sleepover, and
So
poor
cute.
poor Gabby with all us dogs like out here.
Yo, not even poor Gabby, poor Hunter's parents.
Yeah.
Like, yo, they hosted us, but we had a good time.
Want
And
to tell them about the kung fu?
I mean, okay, so we kind
Might as
of
well,
got
right?
a little too masculine, and we started to kind of we started trading punches, and then we were just like, I don't know, there was too much alcohol involved.
hey, we were
I
so.
mean, go Cougs, by the way.
Yeah,
Go
go
Cougs,
yeah,
go
go
show.
Cougs.
Well,
But we was
Be
out there.
responsible.
We was out there in the city acting up. We was acting a fool, boy, cutting up. But we had fun. We had so much fun.
Yeah.
And honestly, that was one of the dopest experiences that we have as a band, because we did get to travel outside of the city, and it's like you have no idea how they're gonna receive you. You have no idea what to expect, and then to have it be live, it just shows you. It just really shows you, and it kind of confirms what you already knew somehow, some way. But it just shows you, like, okay, we can do this for sure. You know what I mean? Because if they can mess with you outside of your home base or your, you know what I'm saying, your place of origin or wherever you, because people are gonna show love here You know what I'm saying? Based on the fact that you're here. You dig what I'm saying? They want to be supportive and they want to just be kind to those who are making an effort to do artistry. But when you go out of the city, those people don't owe you nothing. You know what I'm saying? They don't know you.
Especially they can go like 2 blocks down and see the next band.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And so for them to actually appreciate and like and receive well what we did, you know what I'm saying? It really showed me something and it was really super dope. And then I feel like as a band, we got a lot more tighter to that day too.
Yeah.
Like everything, you know what I'm saying? It was like some real camaraderie on that trip, man. So
I think that happens when you're kind of forced into a situation of what it's almost like the tour for just miniature, like.
Long story
portrait
short,
of it.
New Wave tour coming in the summer. Let's go. Oh, did I say too much?
You
Okay.
fucking spoiler.
All right. Here's our last question.
I gotta relax.
Where can people find you guys?
Yes,
Spotify.
man. Yeah. Please follow us on Spotify. We're gonna be dropping a lot more tracks. You can find us on social media. We have a Facebook page, NUU. I guess it's not the traditional spelling of new. NUU Wave Entertainment, and then you can catch us on Instagram at NUU Wave ENT. Those are our main social medias right now, and obviously follow us on Spotify. Look us up on Apple Music and all other major streaming platforms.
Also,
Even YouTube.
yeah. Also, Matt over
YouTube.
here also posts stuff on SoundCloud, which I also follow him on there too. Right now is one of my favorite students.
Yeah, I kind of post on SoundCloud every now and again. No, I'm playing. I'm blushing, but you can't tell right now. You know what I'm saying?
Unless you're watching on video.
Yeah, but no. Please follow up, man. Tap in.
Yeah, honestly, listening to James perform live at Husky Stadium, that was
Thank
awesome. He was
you.
standing right in front of me. You can go check out that performance with his solo for Full Heart Fancy on YouTube on the WSU Marching Band page. So
Kind of a goat. He's
Yeah.
kind of a goat.
he's kind of a goat. He is a
Yeah.
goat.
Even Husky fans were like, "Whoa, that James dude,
No, seriously.
there's something about him so
Yes, sir.
enigmatic."
Yes, sir.
Thank you guys so
Unattainable.
much for being here. This was honestly really great.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah,
Real talk.
oh my
Appreciate
gosh,
it.
I'm like, again, big fan of you guys,
Yeah.
and I love you guys. I will always support your music. I will always be there to listen. Yeah, thank you so much for doing this interview with me.
Absolutely.
And,
Thanks for having us, Tanya.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so this is DJ Tons, World Music Director here at KZUU. Thank you for tuning in to this artist interview with New Wave. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much.
Ba-ba-ba-bam.
All right. Yeah, make sure to check out my my radio show Mondays 2 to 4. Remember, it's the Matters of Tea Mondays from 2 to 4. It might change for spring semester, but we'll see. All right. Thank you so much, guys. Bye.
Thank you.
Covering the camera and
Yeah.
waving. Awesome. Yeah.
There we go.
All right, yo,
That was good stuff.
All right. Thank you so
Thanks for
much.
tuning
y'all.
in.
Not gonna say the project.
Man, thank you so much. Tony. That was
Yeah.
super fun.
Yeah, that flew by.
That was
Yeah,
so
that
fun.
definitely flew
Did it,
by.
now I'm gonna have to go
I
to
didn't
work
mind
again.
it. It went over an hour, and I was like, I expected this.
Yeah.
So I was just like, that's why I'm like, I'm gonna say 2 to 4 because it shouldn't last more than an hour.
Hey,
How
are you
long
guys
was it?
performing
It was an
tonight?
hour and 5 minutes.
Oh,
Wow,
cool.
perfect.
Very nice.
Yeah, so it's not
Awesome.
that bad.
Are you guys performing at One
Yeah.
Okay, I might pop out today.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, James, I won't be able to be there, but
That's okay.
I'll be with you in spirit.
We'll see how it goes.
Spiritually.
I'm still live.
I'm gonna stop by and see Alex, though,
Yeah.
on the way out.
But I hung out with him last night, so he knows. He knows I love him.
He doesn't know that.
He doesn't
if
know
I
you
love
love
him.
him.
Yeah, so I need to let him know before it's too late.
Okay, I'm gonna.
All right. Well,
Is there a restroom on this floor?
Yeah, it's all the way down the hall.
oh, there's water.
Yeah, I
Red
need to
Bull's
clean
cool.
that up before I get in trouble.
Oh,
I thought that was water.
Yeah,
drink
no,
still?
it is your drink.
Oh shit! No, sir. It's
Yeah,
good.
Yeah, I'm gonna clean it up.
Ew.
I'm gonna go to the bathroom and go get paper towels.
Okay, no sweat.
All right.
Look, I need to get that.
All right.
Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you, guys.
See ya.